Welcome to SorWil Solutions, where we talk about what's going on in our community. I am here with Kathryn Hancock. I always want to say Wilson. Kathryn Hancock, our Director of Marketing. I'm Joe Wilson, the CEO and Senior Partner for SorWil Technology Solutions. And today, our special guest is Chief Gates with the Lansing Fire Department. Chief Gates, I have announced you as going to be on this podcast, I think, for 5 weeks in a row now. Yeah. You had a little bit of an issue. You couldn't make the first one, but you're here today. Thank you so much for being here.
No problem. Anytime.
We are excited to have you. I think our community wants to hear about what's going on with the Lansing Fire Department. It's a new fire department, essentially. And so, we're hoping that we can make this super informative for them and really kind of introduce you as the fire chief that you are. I have gotten to know Chief Gates over the last few weeks as we've helped them with their transition on the technology side for the city of Lansing. And I will tell you, this is one of the most upstanding individuals I think I've ever met. So we're really excited to have you here. Okay, so I will start questions.
That didn't flow.
That didn't flow right?
No.
Okay, well, go
go
ahead.
Okay, thank you. You just stopped and looked at me. I wasn't ready to answer it. Chief Gates, other than being the superhero you are, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started and why you choose to run into fire for work?
So, born and raised, Leavenworth, Lansing area. Married for almost 23 years to my lovely wife.
Graduated from Lansing or Leavenworth? Okay. Go Pioneers.
2 boys. One's almost 23. One's 20.
One of which is a firefighter?
Yes, one of which is a firefighter with Kansas City, Kansas. He started with the fire district when it was the fire district and then moved on. So I got started in this. One of my good friends back in 2000, very close friend, was doing it. Went down there a few times, figured, I'll try it out. Got to really liking it. Was a volunteer for about 8 years. Got hired on full time in 2008 and have went from being just a firefighter EMT and worked my way up from that to lieutenant to captain and now chief. So with the city of Lansing Fire Department.
You've always been here, so even when it was the fire district, you've really never served anywhere else?
Nope. I've been with this department when it was Delaware Township, then when it was Fire District 1, and now the city of Lansing. So don't plan on going anywhere else.
As a first responder, it takes something special in someone to decide to run into fire when the world is going to crap, whether you're a fireman, police officer, or whatever. At what point did you realize you had what it took to do that?
Probably about 6 months after starting the whole process of being a volunteer, getting all my certifications and all that, realizing this is what I want to do. Took me a few years to realize, hey, I want to do this full time. But because I had small kids at home and all that stuff. But once I realized that this is what I want to do the rest of my life, that's when I made the transition to going full time.
That's super interesting. You've been here for a long time now, and now you're the chief. What are some of the operational challenges going from a fire district to Lansing Fire Department that you've encountered, and what has been the most difficult?
Everything's been fairly easy. Just making sure we have all the equipment we need. We ordered a new pumper to give us another piece of apparatus to have, because with the fire district split, everything was split up. We got about half. High Prairie Township got a half. So we needed to add more apparatus, more personnel, all that kind of stuff, which we've done a really good job of that. New pumpers should be here in a couple weeks. We're back up to full staffing, 4 per shift. Part-time guys and some volunteers. I'd like to have some more volunteers. We're working towards that.
Can you tell us what it's like when you get a call and how it goes? Who helps out? Are there other fire departments involved?
So depending on the call, if it's a medical call, it's usually just us and EMS. Whoever the duty crew is, depending on the call, whether or not I go. Car wrecks, it's usually just us, unless it's a major accident and we need more help, then I can call any of the neighboring departments around us for assistance. Structure fires, We have what we call an auto aid agreement. So our department gets called. Fairmont Township out of Baser comes up. Leavenworth City will come out. KCK, High Prairie Township, any of the other departments within the county, if we call for them, we'll come and help. Same way with us. If they call for us, we go out and help them.
Having been in the job for a while, you've worked with a lot of younger firefighters. How often do you find somebody that just goes, you know what, this just is not for me?
You do find that. Not so much. You find that with the volunteers, and the volunteers, they think they want to do it, but once they get into taking the classes and all the other training and everything, they're like, yeah, this is too much. Full-time side, not so much. The newer ones, some of the newer people, the younger people, I should say, I don't know if it's necessarily how they were brought up, but they're not used to seeing some of the stuff that we do see. And once they get to that point where they see that, they realize, no, this isn't for me. We've had it happen, but that's just the way it is.
What's been the biggest operational challenge since becoming your own fire district?
Since becoming to the city of Lansing?
Yeah.
Getting back up to our full staffing, getting qualified staffing. We probably went 4.5 months before we were fully staffed. The big thing is getting people in that has the qualifications that we required. Once we did that, get them all hired, get them trained the way we want them, how we want them to do things. It's been challenging, but we're getting there. I feel pretty confident now where we're at.
Pay wise, I know this is always a big issue. I hear all the time. I was talking to some of the Leavenworth firefighters. The surrounding areas always pay more. In our area right here, where does Lansing fall in that pay structure?
Lansing's probably in the middle, with all the other full-time departments within Leavenworth County.
Okay.
Now, you go outside of Leavenworth County, Johnson County, we're a little bit under like KCK&M starting out. Johnson County, we're definitely under them, but they have a bigger tax base than we did. Johnson County, a lot of the Johnson County departments we were in competitive with up until about 2 years ago, and they weren't getting applicants, so they had to raise all their pay scales and stuff. My opinion, we cannot compete with Johnson County. We just don't have.
Do you see a lot of people coming to the department and then eventually you train them and they go off to other departments?
We used to see that, not so much anymore, because a lot of the guys we've hired have been around here. They don't want to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
Our call volume's enough. They'd like to see more fires, but that's just the way.
Says that.
Like to see more fires. I'm sure that doesn't go over very well.
Yeah. They want to see more fire, but it's not a good thing for the resident or
There
whoever.
we go.
That's just the way they are. But that's the younger guys. I mean, a lot of the younger guys, if we do lose them, it's because we don't have enough calls. They want to run more.
They want more
They
action.
want more action.
I think the same thing's true in law enforcement. I think sometimes people leave the local law enforcement agencies because they're looking for a little, they think they want a little more action.
Yeah, but I've talked to guys that have left us or left neighboring departments to us to go to Johnson County. And once they get there and they're like, yeah, it's not all cracked up to what everybody tells them it's going to be.
Sure.
It's not like that.
How often do you save cats from trees?
We don't.
No.
We do not run those type of things.
No.
I'm not going to take the chance of putting somebody on a ladder and somebody falling just to get a cat out of a tree. The cat will come down when he's ready.
So that's just,
We get calls for it all the time. But
Really?
yes,
Really?
people will call all the time for that, but we won't.
can you tell us what your weirdest call has been? Without naming names.
Yeah.
And solely since you've become Lansing Fire, not
Oh, okay.
not over your whole career.
There
We may get to that.
There
but-
hasn't been any really weird calls that come to mind since we became Lansing.
Okay.
I've had some weird ones in the past.
Okay.
Medical calls and calls we've got for check of subjects, and you come around the corner and see stuff that you don't see. So,
What's the worst fire you've ever had to deal with? And I've asked you this before, so I kind of
Yeah.
know the answer.
there's a few of them that come to mind. There's some fires that I'd rather not talk about that come to mind. We've had
Sure.
one of the big ones I can remember. I was on the department. I was still a volunteer, probably 6 months, 8 months. Big cabinet shop that was down in Baser, right on Main Street,
Okay.
when it caught on fire. That was a long night. We spent a lot of hours down there putting that one out. That's really the big one.
I was thinking more towards our neighbor across the street.
Oh, the prison. So we've had a few fires in there. The big one that was back in '99. I was not on the department yet.
Okay.
But I've heard all the stories about that one. They were there for about 36 hours on that one. We've had a couple smaller ones inside the cell houses. We've had to go in and put out and then clear all the smoke out. Luckily, the newer facility is a little easier to take care of that problem. But yeah, that's in the prison. We don't go inside the facility very often, especially now with the new facility because everything's sprinkled. So the sprinkler system puts most of it out. They won't call us in unless there's something major. We don't go inside for medical calls. We'll sit outside the gate and wait on EMS to come out before
Okay.
we do anything. So
Do you think you're staffed well enough for the volume that is Lansing?
right now,
Yeah.
we are. With staffing wise and everything, yeah, equipment wise, with the new pumper coming, yeah, I think we're pretty well off. With some of the development that's being talked about and is coming, we're going to start probably in the next 5 years. We're going to have to add more staffing, more apparatus. We're going to have to probably buy an aerial because some of the taller buildings that's being talked about coming in and all that. And once we do that, then I need to add more staffing to be able to staff that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
So in 5 years, how much more staff do you think you have to add?
Probably 2 more, at least 2 to 3 more per shift is what I'd like to see. NFPA requires that you're supposed to have, for any structure fire, you're supposed to have 16 personnel on scene. Now, that's not that I can include my mutual aid companies that are coming in from other departments. So if I can have a pumper fully staffed and an aerial truck fully staffed, plus Leavenworth City coming in and Baser coming in, then we're at our 16.
What is considered a fully staffed fire truck?
4 personnel. 4 personnel on a pumper and 4 personnel on an aerial or a truck. So it'll be a little bit, I think, before we get to that. But once we start looking at that, then we need to start looking at station, whether we want to add on to the current station we have. Do we want to build a new station? All that kind of stuff.
At what point do we build a second station?
Well, the good thing is the station we currently have is kind of in the center of the city anyway. So even with the development that's being talked about, we're still kind of centered. I don't necessarily know if we need to build another station right now. It's just kind of depend on what it's going to cost to add on to the current one we have, or is it cheaper to just build a complete new station and then move it out that way somewhere. That's stuff I've been looking at. I just don't know yet.
You had to build more sleeping rooms in this one.
Yes.
I was
Yeah.
about to say, for the audience that doesn't know what it's like inside of the fire department, do you have beds?
Yep.
Do you have couches?
Yep.
What?
Each one of our staff that are on duty 24 hours a day has their own bedroom. Captain has their own. The captain's quarters is kind of their office and their bedroom all in one, and then each one of the firefighters have their own bedroom. And then we have a common area with a little kitchen and stuff in it with recliners, and that's kind of where they all hang out in the evenings and all that kind of stuff. So,
Is there ever a night where somebody you just sleep through the night?
me?
Anybody on duty?
So we've had newer guys that aren't used to the pagers going off in the middle of the night, stuff like that, or we have had that happen. It usually happens one time and that's it. It's the newer people that are not used to it is usually where it happens. Or, if it's been a long day, guys have been busy running calls, and we have something in the middle of the night. You might get one guy that sleeps hard and doesn't hear it, but over the last couple of years, we've upgraded our system inside the station. It used to just be our pagers that we heard, but now we've got overhead stuff, so it all goes across that. So not very many guys sleep through it. I haven't had one sleep through it in a while.
You guys have showers there?
Yep.
Important.
Yep. Anytime we are on a grass fire, structure fire, anything, guys can take showers, wash their clothes, do all that stuff. So it's basically like being at home. You spend a 30-year life at the fire station.
Talk a little bit about the shifts, because I always think that that's interesting. It's not a regular 8 to 5 job.
So our shifts are what they call a Berkeley schedule, California Berkeley schedule. The guys work 24 on, 24 off, 24 on, 24 off, 24 on, 96 off. So they work 3 days in a 5-day pay period, then they're off for 4 days.
Wow.
There's other departments. Leavenworth City works what they call a 48-96. They work 2 days on, then they're off for 4 days. Some guys like it, some guys don't. There's other departments that work a 24-48. They work 1 day, they're off 2 days. They work 1 day, they're off 2 days. In the end, it's all kind of the same. Everybody works on average about 10 days a month is what you work.
So most firefighters have a second job?
Most firefighters have a second job, whether it be construction or mowing lawns or doing whatever. Most guys will have a second job just because it keeps them busy. Firefighters want to stay busy.
Yeah.
At least mine do. Yeah.
Looking ahead, what's the long-term vision for the city of Lansing in the next 5 to 10 years?
More staffing, more apparatus. Big thing that I'd like to see is us get an aerial and more staffing.
So when you say aerial, for everybody out there, what does that mean?
A elevated master stream. It has a ladder with a nozzle on the end of it, whether it be what we call a straight stick, just a ladder, or they make them that are platforms. It's got a big bucket on the front of it. To me, it doesn't matter either way. But for our ISO rating for insurance purposes, we're going to have to get one eventually to help out. So hopefully within the next 5 years.
Explain for everybody what the ISO rating was. I didn't understand that until I started attending fire district meetings when I was running for county commissioner, and people started talking about it. But that's a big deal.
Yeah. So ISO, and I don't understand it 100%. There's a lot of insurance stuff that's in there. The insurance, so ISO comes out. They will look at your department, and it consists of training, water, what your water supply is, your communication stuff, what apparatus you have, all that kind of stuff, and they give you a rating. Based on what that rating is what insurance premiums cost for residential and commercial. It doesn't matter where you live. It's all based on that. I can't remember exactly. There's quite a few in like the KC Metro area that are ISO class 1s, which is the best you can be. But they're full-time paid departments that are running, 20 stations and all that kind of stuff. Here in Lansing, currently, we're a ISO class 3. Down Delaware Township, which is the other area that we cover, they're an ISO class 4/5, depending on where they live. Before, when we were Fire District 1, we were the city of Lansing was a 3. Everywhere that was within 5 miles of either one of our stations was a class 4, and then the other areas were a 9, 10.
Oh, wow.
Because they're not within 5 miles of the station. ISO does allow what we call mutual aid with tankers hauling water. They do allow that. So if that's been, which we did that about 15 years ago in the county, so they count that as having water supply. Lansing does not have a problem with water supply. We have plenty of water in town. ISO hopefully will be coming in again probably in 3 months or so after we get our new pumper in service and stuff. We're going to have them come in and go over everything and see where we stand. I don't believe Lansing's going to change. I think the city will stay at 3 just because of our staffing and the equipment and stuff we got. We don't have to worry about water, training, communications, none of that stuff. It's staffing. Staffing is a big thing. So ISO, when you have full-time staff, you get a point for each full-time staff member you have. But volunteers, I believe it's 2 volunteers equals 1 full-time staff member. So if you have a bunch of volunteers, it's better for you. But this day and age, you can't get, most of my volunteers are guys that's been around for 20, 25 years.
What's it look like before you run a call? How do you set up the trucks? How do you get everything ready?
So
You don't slide down a pole, because I've been in your department. There is none.
we don't have a pole. Basically, the guys' days start, at 7 o'clock in the morning. They do their oncoming shifts, talks to the outgoing shift, and then, if there's any issues, they talk about all that. Once all that's done, they go out, they go through the truck completely, check to make sure their gear's ready, all the equipment's ready to go. And then they do we have chores that we have to do, cleaning of the station, cleaning of the trucks. There's inspections that need to be done, hydrants need to be tested, all that kind of stuff. And they do all that stuff waiting on a call. They may go days that we don't have a call. They may go days that they can't get anything else done because they're constantly
Back and forth.
It just depends on them.
What's the cost for the average firefighter's equipment?
So just to outfit them with their personal protective equipment, bunker coat, bunker pants, bunker boots, bunker helmet, gloves, all that, probably about $7,000 to $8,000. Kind of depends. Depends on what brands you're buying and how much stuff you want to put into their bunker gear and special stuff. I think we're running about $3,000 to $3,500 a set just for the bunker coat and pants. Helmets about $400. Boots are about $400. Gloves, 150, all that. And then you put their air pack on them, which is about, if I include the air packs are about $8,000 to $10,000 a piece.
Wow.
So it's quite, any time it has to do with the fire department, the price triples. There's stuff that you can go buy at Home Depot. As soon as you say it's for a fire department, it triples in price.
So does every firefighter have their own gear?
Yep.
Is it assigned to them? Is it
Yeah.
purchased for them when they
Their
sign up?
bunker gear, their helmets, their boots, their gloves, their protective hood, all that stuff is assigned to them. Now, air packs stay on the trucks, and it just depends on which seat you're in. But everybody has their own mask, all that kind of stuff. But the air packs are just what's on the truck. Most of us only have one. We do have spare sets that if we have to wash gear, we can go grab that spare set while it's being washed. A lot of guys will wait till they come off shift. When they go off shift at 7 o'clock in the morning, they'll go throw the gear in the washer so it can be clean, so it's ready to go the next time they come back. So I'd like to eventually get to where everybody has 2 sets, but it'll take a little. Hopefully in the next 4 or 5 years, everybody will have their own.
Do you run any calls?
Sometimes. It kind of depends on the call. I don't run a lot of medical calls. But we have the way our luck runs, we get double tapped, multiple, the guys will leave out on one and then we get toned for a second one afterwards. Well, when that second one comes out, I usually go to it. As long as I'm not in a meeting or as long as I'm available, I go to that. I'll go to all structured fires. A lot of the car wrecks I go to, especially if it sounds like it's a major one. I go to those. I try to make sure that I run calls just so I can stay up on everything. I go to the trainings and stuff, so I stay up on all my stuff. But just a run of the mill medical call, unless it sounds like it's something major, I don't normally go.
So you've got how many people on duty at a time?
So usually there's myself is there Monday through Friday, 8 hours a day. Then I have a captain and 3 firefighters that are there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
So they get a call out in South Lansing. How many firefighters go on that truck?
The 4 that are on duty.
So then they get a second call. You're in a meeting. What do they do about the second call?
Whoever the captain is on duty that day will usually call if it sounds like something a fire department's going to be needed, then they'll request Leavenworth City or they'll request mutual aid from another department. A lot of times EMS will come across and say, hey, we'll let you know if we need help when we get on scene. Because EMS is usually on scene within 5 minutes. We pull up, EMS pulls up, or EMS pulls up, we pull up. We're pretty close. So EMS is usually there fairly quick, so they can tell pretty quick, hey, yeah, I don't need no help. You guys are good. And we also have some volunteers that if they're available, they'll run that call too, that second call. So
as a volunteer, you don't get any pay for that.
So they were getting, and that's still a discussion right now. The last couple years of the fire district, they were getting paid so much a call, so much for coming to trainings and all that stuff. So it can be, but I mean, most of our volunteers that we have don't really care. They do it because
They love fire.
They want to do it.
I like the rush.
They like the rush, the
Mhm.
adrenaline rush.
Yep.
So now we're going to kind of shift. Well, first of all, are you guys hiring firefighters right now?
No, we are fully staffed as of right now.
Darn it.
You looking for an upgrade in jobs or what?
I'll take volunteers.
You said we could. Did they need extra people?
Volunteers, yes.
So now we like to do a segment we call rapid fire questions so that we can get to really know Chief Joe Gates. A little bit more about you. So we've got 10 questions here.
Okay.
We're going to ask you 5. 4 of them, though, we're going to give you the option to pick a number. And Kathryn's going to do evens and I'll do odds. All right, so pick a number. Got 1 through 10, so it shouldn't be too hard.
7.
All right, 7. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Best piece of advice I've ever received. Don't ever stop learning in this profession. Keep going to trainings, continuously learning. You always have to because everything changes from day to day. So that's the best thing I've ever received.
Okay.
And that was from a old assistant chief of ours.
Okay. All right, next number.
3.
Oh, it's all me today.
Uh-huh.
All right. To start your day, are you a coffee or a tea drinker?
Neither.
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 Energy drink?
Nope. It used to be Pepsi,
Okay.
but I have stopped drinking Pepsi and now I drink Sprite.
So Sprite starts your day. No caffeine at all.
No caffeine at all.
Okay.
I could never.
I don't drink coffee. I never have liked coffee.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Never liked coffee either. All right. Next number.
4.
Favorite spot in Lansing to grab a lunch?
Probably La Mesa.
I was gonna say it seems to be like the fire department, the police department. They're always at
Probably
La
La
Mesa,
Mesa.
La Coretta.
Yeah, it's probably La
Do you
Mesa.
like your food spicy?
Yeah.
Is that Do all firemen like
Not all,
spicy?
but yeah, that's probably the best. I mean, there's not a lot of restaurants in Lansing. I'm not real big on the whole fast food stuff,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, if I go eat lunch, it's usually La Mesa.
How often do the firefighters get together and eat lunch?
Usually, well, they either go out or they cook at the station, either for lunch and dinner. Is what they usually do.
I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Who's the best cook that you have at the fire station right now?
Ooh, I don't know, because I've been off shift for
Uh-huh.
for so long. I don't know. Trying to think which shift cooks the most.
Ooh,
It's probably my A shift guys.
A shift.
They usually cook quite often.
Yeah.
Usually lunch and dinner.
A shift. That's Chris too, right?
No, Chris
No.
is B shift.
Chris is B shift.
No, Chris. Excuse me. Chris is C shift.
C shift. Okay.
So, but yeah, it's probably my A shift guys that
All right.
they like to do, especially on the weekends. They like to do breakfast on Saturday mornings or Sunday mornings.
I've come in there a few times
Yeah.
late in the day, and it smells pretty good.
There is days, but most of the time on the weekends is when they like to do breakfast, and they'll invite EMS out. They'll invite the cops over. Leavenworth City Fire, once in a while they'll come out, or they go up. My guys go up there. So
How often does the community bring you like a meal on the holidays or anything?
so around the holidays we get a lot of sweets.
Mhm.
There, you know, if they have some of the churches around, if they have a big gathering or something, whatever leftover food they usually bring down to either us or PD to drop it off. The school, if the school has, you know, some of their banquets that they have, a lot of times when they're done, whatever's left, it gets delivered to us.
Okay.
That's nice.
I know working at the sheriff's office, when I was working in the jail on a Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, somebody sure enough would drop some food off.
Oh yeah, there's always sweets around Christmas, Thanksgiving, all that stuff. It's cookies, brownie, you know, anything in there, pies, all that stuff gets dropped off. I mean, our back counter is usually full of stuff.
Wow.
So
Okay. All right. Next question.
8
8.
Morning person or night owl?
morning.
I'd
I'm
agree with
usually
that.
up about 6, and I'm usually in bed by 9:30 or 10.
Sounds like me too.
It depends. I mean, but most of the time I'm a morning person.
Kathryn, I'll let you ask the last question.
Ooh. One piece of gear you can't live without on the job.
That one was kind of hard. I was thinking about that. One piece of gear I can't live without. Probably my radio. Just because, I mean, if I'm in a fire, yeah, I have all my gear and stuff on, but that's still my lifeline. That's still, if something goes wrong, there's stuff with that radio that I can do that can notify people that, hey, I'm in trouble. So that's probably my number one thing.
So I'm going to ask you another question now.
Cheating.
I know, but I can do that because it's our podcast. The scariest fire that you have ever been in.
Scariest one I've ever been in. We had a house fire, and it wasn't so much that it was scary. It was just, you know, some fires you go in, you can see stuff. This one, there was no fire. It was just smoke, and I couldn't see I couldn't even see 6 inches in front of me. And it was just the smoke, plastic burning, all that stuff, and not knowing, you know, usually when you go into, you know, if it's a big fire, you can kind of see, but even with flashlights, you still couldn't see in this house, in this basement, because it was just plastic burning. It was so dark. Until you got about 1.5 feet from where the fire was actually at, then you could see. But yeah, that was probably the worst one. Other than that,
I hear stories when I was on at the department talking to firefighters of, you know, getting on roofs and then the roof like falling in near them and like near all these near death experiences.
so I've never had like erupts or anything. I've never had that happen. It didn't really scare me. We had a fire in a trailer home. It scared the guy that was behind me because I fell through the floor. But it's only when you fall through the floor in a mobile home, you're only falling 2 feet. So it's really not that big of a deal. But it kind of scared him because we were crawling along and it was pretty smoky. And then all of a sudden I disappeared.
Oh, wow.
He kind of freaked.
Yeah.
But once he realized, then he was fine. But it's still, I mean, there's kind of that feeling when you go to a floor, when you're smacking the floor or crawling along and all of a sudden everything just drops out. It can freak you out a little bit, but I knew I was in the trailer. I knew I wasn't going to fall far. So it didn't really bother me.
How often do you get to a fire and you're really able to save the home or the structure?
Depends on where it's at and how fast we get there, how fast the fire's actually noticed and somebody calls us and we're notified. There's a lot of variability.
Even if the fire doesn't destroy it, I mean, a lot of times the water does a lot of damage.
Yeah, smoke damage, water damage. And a lot of fires, it's not so much the fire that destroys the house, it's all the smoke and water damage. Because once you get smoke or water damage, everything's got to be ripped out. Unless it's just a small like room and contents, some clothes burning in a lot of times it'll be just to that room. It just depends on what's burning.
So for our viewers, what are some tidbits, all those things that you tell everybody, when you're at home, do this and this and this, that checklist of things that I'm sure you always advise people. How many of the fire extinguishers should I have in my house?
Stop, drop, and roll.
Stop, drop, and roll is very important.
Yes. It's great to keep a fire extinguisher in your kitchen, just in case. If you do have a fire in your kitchen, like a grease fire, don't throw water on it, please. It's just going to spread. Best thing to do is just put a lid on it. If you have a fire in your stove, shut the door. It'll go out. No, very, very cautious with candles. That's one big thing that drives me crazy. My wife will tell you that. If you have a candle lit, when you leave, make sure you put it out. Other than that,
It's the source of a lot of the fires that you come across.
we've had those overloaded
Incense.
outlets, overloaded surge protectors, stuff like that. That's the big thing. Other than that, that's kind of it.
How do I know? And this will be my final question.
Yeah, you kind of asked
No,
funny,
this is super interesting.
funny question.
I think this is super interesting. I have a fire in the house. How do I know that I should probably call the fire department or 911 versus I should really just try to put it out?
So, my opinion,
Rule of thumb.
rule of thumb is call us regardless.
Okay.
Whether you think you have it out, if you try to put it out, great, but still call us out to at least check it. Because especially like kitchen fires, or fire in an outlet, anything, you don't know. You may think it's out, but like an outlet, it may be behind the wall. We have thermal imaging cameras that we can check for heat and everything else.
Oh, really?
So, same thing in a kitchen fire. If you think you have it out, you don't know if it's gotten up behind the cabinets or any of that kind of stuff. Just call us out. We don't mind coming out and checking. I'd rather us come out and check than it say, yep, it is out, or no, there is wire, so we have to tear out walls, do all that kind of stuff. I'd rather do that than get called 30 minutes later to a fully involved house because somebody thought they had it out.
Am I going to get a bill from the city of
Nope.
Lansing because you came out?
Nope. What's your taxes?
Okay.
Hmm.
Once again, thank you so much for being here, Chief Gates.
Thank
I
you
know
for
once again,
inviting me.
It's been a few weeks, and I keep telling everybody you're coming on. I've gotten to know you. I think we've developed a pretty good friendship in the work that we've done, and I've gotten to know some of the firefighters. You've got a great team over there. A lot of really awesome people that work there, and thank you for what you do for our community. I mean, because I certainly don't want to run into a fire.
They say we're crazy for doing that, but
Somebody has to do it.
exactly,
You don't do it for a whole lot, I'm sure, money wise.
it pays the bills.
But you have to have that character within you
Yeah.
It's not always about the money. Because if it was about the money, a lot of people wouldn't do this. You've got to have that desire to serve the community, to go in there and save lives, and that's what separates you from the rest of us that don't have that.
Yep.
So, once again, thank you for your service. Thank your team for us. This is the episode. This is the end of our episode today.
Last one ever.
Wow, not the last episode. Thanks for joining us. Super excited to have everybody. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.